This video is going to teach you absolutely everything you need to know to succeed as a beginner, even if you have never played the mod before in EnderIO. This is everything we're going to be talking about here, so let's get into it. The first thing you're going to need to do is go down to bedrock. That is so that you can make something called Grains of Infinity. It's an item that you are going to need a lot of when crafting in EnderIO. So once you get down to bedrock here, on this world, obviously it's flat. All you're going to do is get your flint and steel and just set a light to it. Sorry to that chicken. Just set a light to as much as you can. Ideally, a much, much bigger area than I am showing you here. I would do like just literally as much as you can. Just keep going on a few different flint and steels, pretty much until the fire then starts coming back out, so you can kind of like go back round in a circle. And what you'll start hearing, you won't be able to hear it on here, but you'll start hearing a popping noise, almost like you're making popcorn in the microwave. Microwave? I don't know why my accent went like that then. And what you're going to get here is the Grains of Infinity, and you could just pick these up. Now, EnderIO is a tech mod. I would honestly say, apart from Mechanism, EnderIO is probably my other favorite tech mod. And if you actually use EnderIO, even just for its cabling, along with other tech mods, I think you're going to absolutely love it. So here we go. We've got Grains of Infinity here. So the next thing that we're actually going to do, once you've got some Grains of Infinity, is we're going to start making some capacitors. So this is a slice and splice. This is a machine I won't be covering in this video, but I will be covering in my advanced guide for EnderIO, which you'll be able to get on my channel. And if we go into this machine, then you can see here that there's an arrow pointing down and it says capacitor missing. Insert any capacitor so the machine will work. Now, if I put into JEI, capacitor, oh my God, I can't. You can see here that we have a basic capacitor, a double layer, and an octadic. These are the base ones that EnderIO adds. You can get ones like a crystalline, melodic, stellar, etc., but these are added by like an EnderIO add-on mod known as EnderIO Endergy. And there's some other mods out there, I think, that also add extra ones, but the basic ones that EnderIO adds are these three here. What you can see here, if we look at how to actually make the first capacitor, is it needs Grains of Infinity, a copper ingot, and some gold nuggets. So cool, we've looked at how to get Grains of Infinity. We can now make a basic capacitor. You can see that the global level is 1. On this one it's 2, on this one it's 3. Basically, the higher the global level, the better it is. To make the double layer, we'll need 2 basic capacitors, some energetic alloy, and some coal dust. Energetic alloy is made in the alloy smelter, coming onto that soon, and then octadic again needs a different alloy and will take 2 double layers. So you make the basic, and then you use 2 of those to make a double layer and 2 of those to make an octadic. And you could simply just place it here, and this will actually depend on how much energy the machine can store. So a basic capacitor here means that this machine can store 100 energy, and if I get a double layer, you can see suddenly it is 300,000, and the machine will basically just work faster for you. So then, what machines do we actually have, and what will we be using in EnderIO? Well, the first one here is a Stirling generator. Now, what you'll also see is that on this row, we have simple machines, so a simple Stirling generator, and then behind we have normal versions. Not every machine has a simple, normal, and an enhanced counterpart. But some do, some don't. Some just have a standard and a simple, some just have a standard, etc. And then we've got the enhanced version. So enhanced, standard, and simple. So for the Stirling generator, we just have a simple Stirling generator and then a Stirling generator. There is no enhanced version. A simple Stirling generator will require some basic materials, an Infinity bimetal gear, which is basically just iron and again Grains of Infinity, and a simple machine chassis. I can never say that word. And again, it's basic materials with Grains of Infinity. So as long as you've got Grains of Infinity, you're okay to make simple machines. If you do want to make a standard one, you're going to see that you need dark steel. Now, dark steel is made in an alloy smelter, which we'll come to soon, and you'll need an industrial machine chassis, which will need a simple one, which I've shown you how to make, and also some industrial die blend. Again, in the alloy smelter, a machine we'll be looking at shortly. Industrial die blend is basically a lot of things. So you can get lapis powder, quartz, and then organic green dye, which again is from the alloy smelter. We're going to go through the alloy smelter shortly, but that is kind of how you make the standard versions. You can see they are a lot more complex to make. So the Stirling generator then, it's simple. Let's have a look. Well, we're going to right click on it, and what we could do is we could generate power, and you can see the efficiency is 80%. The TLDR here is that the simple machines will actually only run at a lesser efficiency, and they will also leak power. You see here it says leakage 0.10. They will actually leak out some of the power because they're so badly made. Now, if we get some coal, what the Stirling generator does is it uses combustible items to make power, but with some leakage. And it really is as simple as that. We can click this cog to look at the input and output. This is an energy cell I've got below. So we can click and drag around to see the different sides. Pull on blue means it will pull from a chest. And orange means push, it'll output any output materials. Or you could do both. And you could just right click to do that or even disable it. So if I put it to pull and I put a chest full of coal on top, then it would pull from that chest on top. I can click this button here in the corner to disable the view of other machines that are connected to it. And we can also press the white paper button to show recipes. And this basically is just showing me everything that I can burn in the Stirling generator. And it will also show you on the left here, using JEI, just enough items, it'll show you what other machine upgrades there are. So there's the Stirling generator and the simple one. Then we have the simple powered furnace. This basically is a furnace that uses electricity rather than fuel. So I could just go ahead and put in some iron ore in here and it will start burning it up. I can also split this out into the 3 slots to make it much more efficient. You will see on all of these machines you have the configure with inputs and outputs and the show recipes. So I'm not going to go through all of that in every machine. And again, this will need power. Then we get on to the alloy smelter, which I wouldn't shut up about earlier. This one is basically going to make things out of multiple things. You've got 3 slots at the top, and if we press show recipes, you can see I can make signalum from thermal foundation by putting redstone, silver, and copper in, and that there's like 600 recipes in this mod pack that I'm playing. And that really is as simple as it is. So there is the industrial dye that you will need to make for your better machines. And this will need organic green dye, which basically uses slime and clippings and trimmings. Or you can use like coal dust, slime, and floral green powder, maybe, or cactus green. Cactus green is a really good example to use on that one. And you can use eggs, etc. There's a few different ways you can make this, basically. The best way would be from clippings and trimmings, which basically is putting dandelions or other flowers into a sag mill, and you get the clippings and trimmings, and it's a 10% chance. For the organic black dye you see in the center, it's a similar thing. It's using slime and like coal, etc. in the alloy smelter. So the alloy smelter can do a lot of different things using a few different materials and putting them together. And again, there is a standard and enhanced. Then we have the sag mill, like I mentioned. Now, what you'll see in here is really interesting. So we can put wheat in here, for example, and it's going to kind of like grind it down and mill it. And you'll see that it can make different resources. Like if I go to show recipes and I scroll over to wheat, you can see that I can get seeds at a 20% chance and flour guaranteed. Now, there's also this slot, which is a grinding ball, and this is going to not be available in the standard version of the machine. However, it will be in the... Sorry, it's not available in the simple, but it is in the standard. The standard machines all do require capacitors. The simple machines do not require a capacitor, so they are a lot simpler. However, the standard machines will be quicker. You can add things like grinding balls, and you can also add redstone control on the standard machines too. A grinding ball is basically something you can put in here, and it will grind it down, and you can see here, main output is increased, bonus output is increased, and it's actually less power use, meaning we can add our efficiency with a dark steel grinding ball. I can just type in here, grinding, and you'll see there's loads of different grinding balls with different percentages for efficiencies and outputs, etc., that you can use. Going into the enhanced, it's basically just a better version. It'll be quicker, and again, you can put capacitors in here pretty much the same way. You can on all standard machines, but the enhanced version is just a bit better, really. Then we have the simple crafter, where you could put a recipe in here. So I have literally just clicked with oak wood planks on the left here, and then that shows that it can make an oak door. And then you literally simply put your resources in the right-hand side here. So I just put in oak wood planks, and it'll automatically start making oak doors. Now, if I get a chest and put it here, go into here, configure IO, and as you can see, the chest has now appeared on here. I can click the 2 squares to get rid of it if I don't want to see it. And then what I can do is right-click, push, so output on the right side where the chest is, and it will automatically push the oak doors into the chest. So again, recipe goes on the left, oak shows you what it's going to make, and then you put your resources in this right-hand side crafting table. And again, there's a better version that'll be a lot quicker, and you can add redstone control and batch control. Then we have wired chargers. In here, you can put things like, I'm going to put an atomic disassembler from Mechanism. This is basically going to charge anything up as long as it's given power. So I can put this in here, and you can say it's very slowly powering up the atomic disassembler. Just to show you how much better these standard machines are, if I put a capacitor in here, just a basic one, or even a silver one, which is basically the same as a basic one, I think. Look how much quicker that is charging up in the standard machine. It's insane how much better efficient it is. And again, we can show recipes. You can see everything that you can charge up in here in your mod pack. You've got your jewelry bauble slots and your gear slots as well. If you'd like to charge them up, you could just drag them straight in to the left-hand slot here. Then we have capacitor banks. These are really interesting. These are basically your batteries. On the simple or basic one, as it's known, we can have a max input and output of 1,000. And then on the normal capacitor bank, it's 5,000. The vibrant one, it's 25,000. To illustrate this here, I'm using some cables, which I'll explain shortly. But basically here we have a creative capacitor bank, right? And this is coming out into this one. So we're saying from here, extract. So let's have a look. Let's say in here, we want to input a maximum of 100. If I then change this cable to insert, you can see it's going up only like very slowly. Whereas if I put it to 25,000, now look how fast it is going up. And we can also say never active. It will never import any energy. It will only export energy. So if I then say this creative one is only going to insert, so it's going to pull. Basically, oh, it's annoying. Let's put this one here like that then. Basically, because I've said never input, only output, now it's going to be taking out energy from this cell. So that is how the capacitor banks work. You can set the input and output limits up to their defined limit, depending on which one you have made. Like on the basic, it's 1,000, then 5,000, etc. And you can say if you want to, input or output, basically using redstone, and again, configure IO. Now that we've looked at that, let's actually talk about the cables we have. And I am going to start off with power cables. So the amazing thing about EnderIO is that you can have different cables in the same block. So I've got my power cables coming here. If I wanted to add item cables, I could just do it like this. Like that. And it doesn't take up 2 blocks. It can all be done in the same block. I can add a fluid conduit on here. I can do whatever the hell I like. I can add all sorts of conduits and it will all be in the same block. Isn't that amazing? Like, that is probably the biggest selling point of using cables from EnderIO. I just don't know any other mod that does it like EnderIO does. It is phenomenal. So if we look at conduits, are they called conduits? Yes. Energy conduits, you can see there's max output 640, 5,000, 20,000, and these vibrant alloys, etc. Again, this is all just stuff you can make in EnderIO in the alloy smelter. Ender pearl and an energetic alloy to make a vibrant. Energetic is, gold, glowstone, and redstone. Once you know how to use the alloy smelter, it's pretty simple. So we've got all different ones. And again, I've got some add-on mods to get different levels of energy conduits. But what I can do is I can place them, here. And then once you add it to a machine, you'll see it adds this it's kind of like board onto it with arrows going in and out. And I can right click on there. And I can say, with the cable, do I only want to insert? And you can see it's only going in. Do I want to extract and insert? Do I only want to extract? You can see the arrows only coming out. I can say, do I want it to be used with redstone control? So this is really, really clever. And that is the energy conduit. Then we have here, well, we've got a lot going on here actually. Fluid conduits. Same thing. I can say, so I've got this fluid tank here from EnderIO. Simply, fluid tanks store fluids, wowie. But something else you should be aware of. And then what I can do is I can say only extract, always active from here. And you can see it's had a little arrow on the fluid pipe. And then what I can do is say on this one, only insert. And then what you'll see, I think it actually bugged out there. For some reason wasn't allowing it. Or maybe my IO was configured wrong. So once you do that, I'm extracting from here and I'm inserting into this one. What you may see on this pressurized fluid tank is that it's still empty, even though this says, oh, there we go, insert. So what you may see here, it's going up. Have you noticed that if I put insert and export on here, it's not going up or down? Well, that is because it's kind of inserting it in, but then also at the exact same time taking it back out. So it's kind of not doing anything. So if you do see that happen, where it's just not doing anything, even though it looks like it should, that's why. Because you're saying, yeah, insert it in, and then also extract. You see, if I put never active, now it's going up. I can also go onto the I/O of a machine and say only push on that side, and now it will stop. So do check that as well. I'm saying only export, basically. If I disable that, it will disconnect it. Or if I say input or pull, now it can go back up again. So do make sure that you've checked the sides of the input or output from your cables and your machine, because one of them could be stopping it from actually going in. There's then these pressurized fluid conduits, which are basically speedier versions. And then you have Ender fluid conduits, which are even better. Lastly, we have item conduits. And these are really, really clever. So on the item conduit, you can see in here, there's a lot more going on. We can add channels like purple. You can see what channel it's going to go on, purple. We can add priorities. The higher the priority, the higher that it will go into that inventory. We can say insert and extract like before. We can say round robin, meaning let's say this was a loop. Let's say it was all coming out of here and going into here and here. If I put round robin on this one, it would go into here, then into here, then into here, then into here, and it would just go round and round in a circle. We can also self-feed as well, so it can add it back into the same inventory. And something else we could do here is actually add filters. So in the right-hand slot, we can add an extract speed upgrade, which means it'll be a lot quicker at extracting items. And then in here, we can add a filter upgrade. Now, this is a basic item filter, and I can put this in here. You can do this on the insert and extract. Now, when you add it in, you'll get the edit filter settings button. I can click that, and I can say on here, like whitelist or blacklist. Whitelist meaning only these items, blacklist meaning none of these items. And we can have a few items here, and we can match or ignore metadata. There's also a lot of different filters we can use if that one isn't good enough for your needs. There's an advanced one, which we can put in here, and you can see it's got 2 rows of items and also more buttons. Sticky mode, where selected items will only be sent to this or other sticky outputs. And then all dictionary, NBT data, and damage. If you're doing gear, you can say only put in items that are up to 50% damaged or more, etc. There's also things like a limited item filter, filters items based on their stack size, in addition to the features of the advanced item filter. We have a big item filter, which you'll love. This can filter a lot of different items. Like, it's a lot. And then an advanced big item filter. Existing item filter filters items based on a snapshot of the connected inventory. So it's only going to actually let things in that are already in there, which is really useful. A mod item filter, filter it by the mod they came from. A power one, filter it based on the current energy. There's loads of other filters we can use here, like enchants, etc., etc. And that is a really, really useful thing for items. One other thing we can do is, I mentioned before about adding cables in. Well, if we want to do it onto the same input, where it's best that I show you this? If I add an item conduit to the fluid pipe, can you see that both the fluid and the item pipe are trying to come out? If I right click on here now, what you can see is there's 2 tabs. So you can actually use both on an input and output as well. I can now click between the fluid pipe and also the item conduit. I can actually do both of them. And that pretty much sums up all the different conduits that we can use in EnderIO, which again, I do believe are the best in any tech mod. One other way of making power I want to show you in this beginner guide is the photovoltaic cells. You could, let's say you want to power something, we could just put it on top here of our machines, as long as it has access to sunlight, meaning it can be really, really useful. And to make these simple ones, we need to make some photovoltaic plates, which is in the alloy smelter composite, which again is, you know, coal and lapis, etc. It's not too difficult to make realistically, but you can get upgraded versions of these. The only other thing that you should be aware of as a beginner is the Yetta wrench. This is really good. We can right click on here to change the input and output, or even disconnect the item here. As you can see, the conduit. We can shift right click and get rid of it completely. We can shift right click and pick up machines. We can right click to change the input and output on machines just by without having to go into the interface. And this here is the Yetta wrench. If you shift click on it, you can see it hides conduit facades when held. Shift right click to break machines and conduits. Shift left click on a conduit to open the conduit settings GUI. Use shift mouse wheel or Y to render a single conduit type. You know, so I can say, basically I can shift and scroll on my mouse wheel to only see item conduits, fluid conduits, power conduits, and it'll actually hide all of the others for you, so that you can basically see them all. Now, this will also include gas conduits. So if you have a mod like Mechanism that has gas, EnderIO does actually add compatibility for gases to be used with gas conduits if you are using something like Mechanism. So don't worry, you don't have to use Mechanism pipes if you don't want to for things like that. So the Yetta wrench can be really, really useful. And that is pretty much it for the beginner guide in EnderIO. I will put a link in the description to the advanced guide that I'm doing that will follow on from this one if you are watching on the solo beginner guide. And if you're watching on the ultimate guide for this video, then this ends the part for beginner. So let's just recap what we went through. We went through grains of infinity, capacitors. We went through all of the basic kind of machines you'll need, the Stirling generator to make energy, powered furnace to smelt things, the alloy smelter, you'll be using that a lot, the sag mill, you'll be using that a fair amount. The crafter you may or may not be using to automate your crafting, charging, capacitor banks to store energy, and then fluid tanks and all of the different conduits you'll be using, as well as making power with the sun and the Yetta wrench. If you did enjoy this video, the playlist will be on screen now for everything EnderIO. And if you're looking for other mod guides, check out my channel. I do other games as well. If you go onto the homepage and click the playlist tab, there is an entire shelf dedicated to Minecraft for you. And if there's anything you're not sure on, let me know in the comments below. Should you wish to support the channel, you can join my Patreon as well, and that is in the description.